maybe if you had any objectivity at all, you would come in here and say, you know what, I can't even stomach this anymore, that they're taking solace from this, as if the face of the league, who was completely in the wrong, who pulled off a dirty, cheap shot of a play on Isaiah Stewart, that he was suddenly the hero of this. We've got to do it for Laura. You're kidding me. You're going to do it for the guy who cheap-shotted a 20-year-old?
Is he your teammate or not?
Wow.
Is he your teammate or not?
How can you be inspired by that?
Is he your teammate or not?
I think the Lakers didn't even know what happened because it happened so fast. Unless you studied the replays, you didn't know how cheap it really was, just how dirty it was. And for them to say, it was Vogel to say incidental contact, incidental? He aimed it.
No, he did not aim it. Stop saying that. Because you make it seem, because you said LeBron looked at him, turned around, looked at him in his face, and then hit him in his face. He did not do that, Skip.
Yeah, he did. He looked right at him.
No, he did not.
Closed fist. Nope. That's all you need to know. Closed fist.
Skip. That's what you're doing, Skip. When you turn around, when you're trying to get somebody's hand, you're jockeying for position. They're trying to get their arms in position to box you out. You're trying to do the same thing. LeBron James tried to swipe the man's arms down. He hit him in his face. Yes, he should have been ejected. But given Bron's history, you give him the benefit. Has LeBron ever done anything like this before?
Nope, he has not. But this has to be taken in and of itself. I've never done anything like this before, but if I walk down the hall here at Fox and I suddenly cold cock a guy, I should be held to the letter of the law.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. You can't say that because you can't say, well, if I did on the football field, if I did what somebody did on the football field, if I did that person to walking down the street, that's a totally different situation. You have to look at the situation. Yes, if anybody walking down the hallway hits somebody, they're going to be held to the letter of the law, and you're going to lose your job. But in basketball or sporting events, that's different than in the outside world. So I just want to know, how many times have a guy received a flagrant 2 and been suspended?
Well, he should be suspended.
No.
I don't know.
But you say the letter of the law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There have been guys that got flagrant 2s, got ejected. The injection in and of itself is the punishment. Mm-hmm. But you want to go outside of the scope. Why? Because it's LeBron.
No, it should be anybody who started something like that. And again, Isaiah Stewart should be suspended also. It should be like 2 games to 3 games.
Well, he's going to be, I think he'll be suspended for not leaving the court in a timely manner. I think that's what his suspension is going to be. Because, Skip, you know, they give you a tech. They want you to promptly, the security normally comes out, grab you, and they take you to the locker room. But because he did not leave the court in a timely manner, I think he's probably going to get a game. I'm going to be surprised if LeBron gets a game because even though it was a flagrant 2, he was ejected. I do not think he did it on purpose.
Okay. Yet they do play at Knicks on Tuesday night,
correct.
So that should probably keep LeBron out of harm's way with the league. But we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Now let's go back to Carmelo after the game. I was watching on the local broadcast here, and he's saying, hopefully we can look back at this game as the one that changed our momentum for the season.
Right.
So what did I see at the end of this game? They had roared back to win the fourth quarter 37-17, and it was highly impressive until you think about the competition, the 4-11 Pistons. In the fourth quarter, what happened in the fourth quarter, if I could ask, to the Pistons? They shot 3 for 18. They were 1 of 6 from 3, and roaring back came your Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes.
And with about, it was under a minute, about 50 seconds left, could we see the sequence in which your man Anthony Davis wound up guarding Cade Cunningham, who had a miserable fourth quarter as he had a whole miserable game? Blocked his jumper, his three-point shot, and then he said, okay, I'll just drive it in here, and that was stupid, and that got blocked.
The time's running down. He ain't got no choice.
Okay, but it's just a bad idea. It's 2 bad ideas against a 6'10" guy. So here comes Russ down, and he gets a little opening and dishes it to AD. And Russ played very well in the fourth quarter.
He played unbelievable
against the Detroit Pistons.
Yes.
And look at this. They are celebrating. If we could see it one more time, they're celebrating like they just won Game 7 of the finals. I've never seen anything like this against the Pistons, who had them down 15 after 3 quarters, 17 early in the fourth quarter.
You know what that reminds me of, Skip? Kind of reminds me of your Cowboys, how they celebrate every game like it's the Super Bowl. That's what it reminds me of, huh? And you find that pathetic. You found that pathetic.
The Lakers won the championship 2 years ago.
Well, unlike your Cowboys, hadn't won anything in 25 years.
Right.
But okay.
Thank you. Look at this. They're chest bumping. I fell out of my chair over that. You are celebrating because you came back to win a game that you should have won by 20 points.
Why should they have won it by 20 points?
Because the Pistons are horrible and they're babies.
Yeah.
They're led by a 20-year-old and a 19-year-old.
And guess what?
Isaiah Stewart made the all-rookie team last year. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he'll ever even be an all-star, but he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he plays his tail off every night.
Yes.
And I'm still not sure about Cade Cunningham because I said before the draft, I think Jalen Green will be a little better. I'm not even sure if either one of them are ever going to be an all-star type player.
Right. But he had a triple-double last night.
Look at what he shot. Could you tell the folks what he shot? 6 of 21 from the floor and 1 of 9 from 3.
But it's a triple-double.
That's a Jason Kidd Memorial triple-double, and that's why I've always said the triple-double should at least require 20 points instead of 13 points,
you
right?
can't do that.
Well, that's the way you should do it. So the point is, all I heard was the Lakers raving about their comeback, and I'm thinking it has come to this for your Lakers. Your once proud Lakers are doing handsprings over a game at Detroit on an early Sunday evening.
Skip, I said that. Is that our season has gone so poorly that we have to be impressed and pleased with a come-from-behind victory against Detroit. But that's what, Skip, that's where the Lakers are currently. That's where they are. Yes, this season has been a major disappointment thus far. Now, we don't know how it's going to end, but thus far, 17, 18 games into the season, I think all Laker fans, even the Lakers themselves, will say this has been a major disappointment. And it has been. When you have the level of talent that they have, yes, most of them are a little older. The most talented players are a little older. It still is unacceptable for them to have the record that they have. But with that being said, back to our originally scheduled program about LeBron. Skip, LeBron should have been ejected. Whether he intended to do it or not, that was a flagrant 2 foul. So he's ejected. But also, and again, I love to say this, intent. Intent matters to LeBron because LeBron said, man, I didn't mean to do this. And I don't believe he did. But Isaiah Stewart is still just as bloody, still as frustrated because of what transpired. And I can, Skip, if I'm Isaiah Stewart, I'm going to be livid also. I'm going to be livid also because when somebody hits you in your face, you don't think it's an accident. Like, bro, of all the places you could have hit me, this is where you caught me. So I get Isaiah Stewart's level of frustration. I would be equally frustrated, but I'm not going to go back and forth and back and forth. If I had felt that you had did it on purpose, hey, just run off.
The only reason he didn't immediately throw fists in retaliation was it wasn't Dwight Howard who did it. If it had been Dwight, I promise you fists would have flown. It was LeBron James, who has no track record of this, but did do it.
Yes,
and it took him a few seconds to realize, what? You just busted me right in the face?
Right.
And you're walking up to me like it's no big deal?
No, Skip, I'm walking up to you trying to explain, bro, my bad. I didn't mean to do that, bro. We was fighting for position.
And once it sank in, he went berserk. And once it sank in deeper and deeper, they could not restrain him. The Lakers were very fortunate that it took all the coaches, and the whole coaching staff was like doing Jeff Van Gundy tackling of him around the legs. Dwayne Casey tackling him around the legs that looked like Dwayne somehow cut his own hand. And it took all of his teammates, it took all the King's horses and all the King's men to restrain him. And the point was, I'm looking at relief on all the Lakers' faces because the last thing they wanted to deal with was that raging bull getting loose and getting into the middle of them because it would have been up to AD and who else was up there? Maybe Dwight. DJ. I didn't see Dwight, actually.
Dwight Howard was on the bench.
Okay.
And because I went back and listened to it after the thing, and the PA announcer, everybody please stay in your seats. Please stay in your seats. The last thing that you want to Skip, the NBA cannot ill afford to have another situation like that.
But the last thing the Lakers wanted was for him to get loose because I promise you some more blood would have gotten spilled.
Well, Skip, look, in a situation like that, the adrenaline is pumping. And that's why I say when you get a man, especially a professional football player, basketball player, Skip, and his adrenaline get going, it's hard as hell to restrain him.
Yep.
It's hard.
And when they finally did subdue him and they escorted him up the tunnel, he broke free again and made a hard left running full speed to the locker room, hoping to
come back
circle completely back around. And so all the officials immediately notify the Laker bench, be careful, he may come out on the other side, right?
Right.
That's how out of control he was at that point.
Yeah, he's frustrated. I get his level of frustration.
So do
because I got, you get hit in the face. Because at the time, Skip, I'm not like, damn, bro, you just hit me in the face, bro. And so, LeBron is trying to explain, bro, my bad. My hand got a little high. We were fighting for position. Bro, I ain't trying to hit you in your face, bro. LeBron is trying to explain it to him because that's the LeBron how he is. Now, if that was been back in the day, the 80s, ain't nobody offering you no explanation, Skip. You covered the game in the 80s and 90s. Ain't nobody offering no explanation. Oh, well, you just got hit in the face. You remember when Karl Malone opened up a 44-inch stitch gash over Isaiah Thomas's eye?
He did.
And didn't apologize.
And I was there the night way back when Kermit Washington completely lost a running start and hit Rudy as hard as he could right in the jaw and nearly killed him. And I was on hospital watch at Sentinella Hospital the rest of the night, hoping that Rudy could just make it through the night, and thank God, I'm knocking on wood, he did.
I'm glad they don't let him fight like this.
Okay, I kept thinking as I'm watching this live, if he gets loose, we could have another Kermit Washington moment.
Well, you remember when Kareem punched Kent Benson?
Yeah, he did.
And broke his hand.
He did.
I mean, there have been a lot of situations, Skip. Obviously, the NBA got away from that, and I'm glad they did. But Skip, I'm not saying, I don't get Isaiah Stewart level of frustration. In a situation like that, bro, you hit me in my, I'm like, damn, bro, really? So, but I do not believe LeBron act was egregious. I do not believe he intended to do it. But that